Hey, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shemala, done by Shemal Shah. If you can hear me, could you please put a one in the chat? The water says, Most High in Christ. Okay, shalom. Yahweh Shemal Shah, Barakathum to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemal, Alathan Bahashem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. We are the Isupk, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Your Honor. The ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, since 1969 has been teaching the truth of the Bible. And that truth includes the fact that so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called First Nation or Native Indian people are the true Israelites, the true Jews, God's chosen people, and the future rulers of the planet Earth. ISUPK has been and always will be the home of the truth, or the origin of it. You understand, in modern days, the ISUPK is not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite group, sect, religion, or whatever. ISUPK stands on its own merit. We stand on this Bible, every word thereof, but the Bible is the truth. It is the word of God. Salaki just getting some class needs. Okay. I'm Officer of 1000 Yanazar here in beautiful Durham, North Carolina. I'll be teaching the class tonight. Hey, shalom. And tonight's class, of course, is the Lashawan Qadash, a emphasis on the youth. And as you know, we do this every other week when we focus in on the youth in topics or things of interest, scriptures, to enlighten our youth and to raise them up in the proper manner. Understand, and give them a sense of identity, that's not connected to what the world teaches them. Okay, so shalom, shalom says Yahweh Shema is done by Shema Shah, Yahweh Shema Shah, all right, so okay, we already started the live, so we're just going to get right into it, and hopefully we'll get some more young folks in the building. Okay. Okay. So in the meantime, understand, we're the children of Israel. We're God's chosen people, right? And so with that being said, along with that comes something to look forward to, something that we can look forward to. Understand? And we're just going to go over a couple of scriptures while we wait for everybody to get comfortable and everybody to sit down so we can proceed with the class, because there's a reason for the ISUBK and a reason for these classes. You understand? And a reason for us being in the condition that we're in as well, right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and I'm going to read a few verses in there before we start the agenda for the youth class. Okay, so this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and I'm going to start at verse 5. Shalom. It says, "For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God." So what this is speaking of course, is the northern and the southern kingdom together, right? the Lord of hosts. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel, we did sin against the Most High in our land. Now it's saying in verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul, and be not cut off in her iniquity. Meaning, don't get caught up in the evils of this world, right? Don't get caught up in the evils of this world. Understand? The evils of this world is everything that's outside of this school. You understand? If it's against God, then it's evil. Just to make it as simple as we possibly can. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, right? Somebody tell me what vengeance is. What is vengeance?
Salakia. Vengeance. Vengeance is like a penalty, like a punishment.
Right. A recompense, right?
Kind.
So we could have two mics to pass around. So as it says, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. The Lord meaning the Most High, because that word right there is Yahweh in the Hebrew. It is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So you understand that's vengeance. You understand? Somebody done something to you, you have a right to do it back to them in justice. You understand? Right? So this is the Most High letting us know, even though we sinned and we were against him, he's still going to take vengeance for us against the nations that harmed us, right? So how do we know what that nation is? So we're going to go down to verse 12. It says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong, and set up the watchmen, and prepare ambushes. The watchmen are the priests and prophets of the Isupk. Oh, Salaki, that's Jeremiah 51, and I just read verse 12. Right? So the watchmen are the priests and officers of Isupk. They're called the watchmen because they have a responsibility to watch out for the people and also to watch and see the word of the Most High come to pass and then relate it back to the people. You understand? That's our job. Understand? So now, make the watchmen strong. Set up. Make the watch strong. Salakia. Set up the watchmen. Right? Prepare the ambushes. You understand? For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. And now verse 13. O thou that dwelleth upon many waters. You understand? So this place, Babylon, is set upon many waters. And as that's a good description or a good hint or a good clue as to who Babylon is. You understand? Which is a place that sits on many waters. And I think the Empire of America or the USA sits on many waters. The Pacific, the Atlantic, the Great Lakes, the Gulf of Mexico. You understand? Many waters. The Arctic Ocean. You understand? So that's how we knew. Okay, so now let's skip to verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, not like the other nations, right? For he is the former of all things, meaning we invent things. We improvise things, you understand? And when you attend the Sabbath service, right, you'll learn about all of the things that we invented and, that we never even heard of. And we didn't know that was in existence 3,000 years ago. Shalom, Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat. Israel is the rod of his inheritance, right? So meaning Israel gets the inheritance from God, right? The Lord of hosts is his name. Hey, Shalom. Have a seat. How we looking on refreshments over there? Good. Okay. All right, sis. Um, a young sister, you don't mind helping your mother out? Musan Craig. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Alatham Hashem Yahweh Shah. Okay. Okay, so now, all that was is just to give us a little glimpse into the Lord's vengeance and what we have to look forward to. You understand? In this world, because the Most High is going to avenge us for what has happened to us. Like once we were delivered into their hands, you understand, they could have done better by us. They could have treated us better, but they just decided to dog us out. You understand what I'm saying? That's what they're going to get punished for. You understand? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. We'll sound correct. Okay, so today, right, we're going to get into some scriptures, and if we have enough time, we're just going to get into the story of Jonah, right? Who knows who Jonah is? Anybody? Preferably one of the youth or youngsters. Anybody ever heard of Jonah? Okay. Well, Jonah was a brother who didn't want to he didn't want to listen to and obey God. And so God made a big fish come and swallow him up. And he was in the belly of the fish for 3 days, right? That's Jonah. So if we have time, we're going to get into that, right? So, but first, we're going to get into, let's go to Proverbs 22 and 6, because we all going to come to understanding as to what our responsibility is, our job is as parents and as children and young adults, right? Right. So this is the place where, you know, it's our responsibility to teach our children these things so that they know. And what we're teaching them is right. And if anybody tries to teach them other than what we're teaching them, they are wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you're in school and you have any issues with anything that you're being taught, go to your parents and talk to your parents about it. Hey, the teacher said this. You understand? And then you talk to your parents about it, right? Because it's our responsibility to teach you right and wrong, right? So Baba Kashab, quiet bar, if you could, read that for me, brother.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So what this is saying, if we train the children, teach the children the right things, when they grow up, they'll do the right things. You understand? And so what we're doing here is teaching you the right things. You understand how to conduct yourself, how to, you know, to love your people, your people. You don't have to love other people. You don't. You can choose to if you want to, but you have to love your people. Who are your people? So-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Indians. And a lot of our people don't know that we're one people. So always remember that. But you know that we're one people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, so-called. You understand? So now, train up a child in the way that he should go. Meaning you teach the child what is necessary for that child to, you understand, to obey God and how to live life righteously. That's the job of a parent. Knowing what to do, how to make decisions, and to rely upon your parents, you understand, to guide you and to teach you and to help you in the decision-making process. Help you to make choices. You understand? Like what food you're going to eat. You can't eat candy for all your meals. You understand? So that's what it's talking about, right? Train up a child in the way that he should go. He should go the same way that the parents are teaching him to go, and that in the Isupk is righteousness, right? Okay? righteousness, doing the right thing. Y'all know what doing the right thing is, right? Doing the right thing. And if you don't know, you're going to learn what doing the right thing is, right? The right thing is, let's go to Proverbs 13 and 24. 13 and 24. Hold on, let me get there with you. Proverbs 13 and 24, because it's so important to teach our children these things. Because, in fact, you are the future. You understand? You're the future. And if you don't build up your future, you're not going to have one. So, Proverbs 13. Shakataza, I want you to read that. 13 and 24.
This is the book of Proverbs.
Give me some bass in this place. Come on.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son.
Stop right there. He who spareth the rod hateth his son. Meaning, this is what it means. It doesn't mean you got to beat your child and beat him and abuse him. It says you have to discipline him. He who doesn't discipline his child does not love that child. That's what it's saying. You have to discipline your children. That is your responsibility as a child, and the responsibility of the adult is to make sure that they discipline the child. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, right? So the rod, like today, might be a belt, it might be a stick. But what our children need to understand is that all children don't need the rod to learn discipline. I got sons, I got 8 sons. And some of them needed the rod. You understand? Some of them needed a little spanking or a little taste every now and then. And then others did not. I could talk to them, look at them a certain kind of way, or tell them and explain things to them, which we're going to get into it. There's a scripture pertaining to that too, that they would listen because they knew and they felt the authority of their parent. And they knew that their parent was in charge and meant well for them, that wanted good for them. You understand? That didn't want them to go out into the world and get in trouble. So the parent disciplines the child. And if a parent doesn't discipline his child, then that parent is neglectful and is not a good parent. That's it. There ain't no ifs, buts about it. If you don't discipline your children, you're not a good parent. That's it. I do, but I didn't today. But Bible shop, most high Christ. So the importance of these classes, right, is to get these. Yeah, just a little something. But the importance of these classes is to get our children in the mindset to move forward, because that world out there does not love us. It does not love our children. It's not going to teach you morals. It's not going to teach you right from wrong. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to teach you how to be a good slave. That's what they teach you in the world out here. Understand what I'm saying? But you understand, although we're in captivity and we are in slavery, our life is not to be slaves. You understand? God didn't make us to be servants. He made us to be rulers. And in the Isupk, under Commander General Yohana, we're going to show you, just like we've been shown by Commander General Yohana through Lord and Christ, that we're here to be rulers. You understand? We're not taking no shorts. We're not taking no back seat to any nation at all. You understand? Right? So, but he that loveth him chasteneth him bedtimes, meaning that if you love your child, you discipline him at the right time, accordingly, right? You don't have to always scream at him. You know what I'm saying? You talk to him, but like we're gonna get a scripture that shows that the primary disciplinary, according to God's order, is the man. The man is the primary disciplinary. Why? Because he got that extra physical strength, he got that bass in his voice, and he has a certain type of wisdom. You understand? That is for a man, certain responsibility. Not that a woman can discipline you, because I've known a lot of women that were very good disciplinarians, right? But it's the primary job of the man, the father, to be the disciplinary person in a family. He's the primary disciplinary person. Now, in accordance to the law, the mother and the father are supposed to work together on the discipline, right? So, like, you got something? Come on, get the mic.
I just want to say, but he that loveth him chastiseth him bedtimes. And I can remember when I was a young fella, right? And I was out of order and I was misbehaving. And my parents did not spare the rod. And it could be 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was bedtime.
It was bedtime at 12 o'clock.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. Every time, anytime, it was always bedtime. I always went to sleep. So it's funny that the scriptures say that it was bedtime. I know that you saying that. Okay, this right before, it's the perfect time, right before bed.
Okay,
but anytime I misbehave and I got, it was always bedtime. Anytime, man.
Yeah,
it made me go take a nap.
What a parent does is a parent knows their children, and then they try to discipline their children accordingly. Right? So, children have to learn. I'm going to ask a question. I want one of the children to answer this question. Why do children need discipline? Why? Why do children need discipline? Let Malak go and see what he says, and then we're going to come to you, bro. Okay?
Because they've been bad.
Good answer. Okay? They need discipline because they've been doing something wrong, right? And we want to correct them, right? And all of this, now give me what you got.
So they can learn?
Right.
So they can learn?
Absolutely. So that they can learn. So when they go out into the world, right, they know how to conduct themselves. You understand? Because let's say the law that God gave us, right? If you obey the law that God gave us, you won't break the white man's law, the oppressor's law. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to go to prison. You don't have to go to jail. I remember telling my children when they was little, I said, yo, if you go to jail, you're not getting no commissary. I'm not visiting you. I told my children that when they was like 9, 10 years old. Because the things that we were seeing on the street. You understand? You got to let them know.
What if the roles was reversed and the parents were bad and the children were good? Like if the children knew that, what the parent was doing was bad. Let's say a parent try to influence a child or tell a child to go in the store and go steal something. You know what I'm saying?
That happens all the time.
Right. What is the child?
Okay.
What should a child do if a parent try to tell them to go steal out of the store, or if they know that it's wrong and it's against God, but the parent tells them to do that? What should a child do?
So, okay, when things like that happen, right, and it does happen because we've all known somebody like that, you know what I mean, in our lifetime. You understand? I've known parents that, allowed their children to steal, taught their children to steal. And also I know parents that their sons and daughters were drug dealers, and they would accept the money and the gifts and the flashy things. I've seen all of that, right? But at that point, like, we can't put the responsibility on a child. That's the whole point. Like, the child should, like, if a parent, this is the whole point of, train up a child in the way he should go. A child shouldn't be a thief. He shouldn't be a booster. He shouldn't be a drug dealer. So that parent is going to bear the burden of that. And then when that child, because in our situation, the child, and that's why this class is so important, is not being reared up, you understand, with those type of morals. The parent is responsible. That's the whole thing. Like today, we got the term YNs, right? Like, we blaming it on the young people. You understand? And that's not right. It's not to excuse the behavior, but the people that raised those young people didn't teach them correct. That's the bottom line. And so, and the reason why that is because we're in captivity and our family structure is destroyed. That's primarily the reason. Like, we have so many families that don't have fathers in the house. We have so many families where the father is somewhere else, you understand, doing something else, and he's not there in the position where he's supposed to be. So in the Isupk, what we're doing is we're reclaiming our culture. You understand? We're reclaiming our family structure. You understand? With the man at the head of the family, the primary disciplinary person is the father. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? The mother has different roles that her natures allow her to excel at, to be better at. You understand what I'm saying? Because the two become, what's the word, twain, or they become one. They become one, meaning that they have the same agenda, right? So if you have a family, you got the mother and you have the father, and they're working together to raise up those children right. Right? Bob Bishop.
I feel like that was a heavy question, right? And I think there's always been a saying. I know when I say everybody going,
so we can see you
oh, slug. Y'all can see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I say I know everybody going to remember what y'all heard this before, but it take a village to raise a child, right? That's something that because of Christianity and because of drugs, the black community has forgotten about that. And I think that to also just to speak on the brother's question, the scriptures say for us to be a father to the fatherless. You understand? A lot of these young men out here don't have father. They may have a man that gave, they seed to a woman and created this brother, this child, or this daughter, but the father is not being a father. You understand? Like, being a father is it's not just a title. It's not just because I gave sperm to a woman and now I'm a father. A father is something that you have to be. You have to be a father every single day. And a lot of these young cats don't have that, but they do have you. They do have obviously Yanazar. And that's something that we have to bring back in the community, even with our children. You see a brother, or you go into school and you see somebody at the school who has drugs, who has weed, and you ask the boy or the girl, where did you get the weed from? And they say, my parents gave it to me. Well, the children should know, well, that's unlawful. Let me tell my father, let me tell my parents. And the parents should be able to take that and then go through the proper protocols to correct that within that child. Like, we got to start looking at these children and not just saying, look, these niggas out here selling drugs. Where they getting the drugs from? These niggas, these little kids out here got the guns. Where they getting the guns from? But because of our oppression, we think, it's a dog eat dog world. As long as my family taken care of, I ain't really concerned with these other children. But the problem is, those children that we not looking out for, they're going to be the ones that come and disrupt our home. They're going to be the ones that sell our children drugs to get them influenced into doing wrong things. So that's why what Commander Jenny Hanna is teaching is it's essential for all of us to look at all of our children and be a father to all of them. You understand, that don't have the fathers like we have in the UPK. Select.
No time for us. The water for that. Get that brother a hand. because we have to understand that there's a social disconnect. That means that our families are messed up. And we have to be, if like all the children in here, all of these men in here are role models. You understand? You have your father in your house, but you have Officer Yaramak, you have Quiet Bar, you got Yanazar. You got all of these brothers here. We're your brothers. We're your family. And it's our job to help one another to set y'all on the right path, to get y'all right. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you get older, you're going to learn how much destruction was and how much money was spent on destroying us. You understand?
Right.
So we have to rebuild. And like the brother said, it takes a community. So in this school right here, this is a community right here. It takes a village, right? A community working together. Communion or community means that's exactly what it means, coming together. Understand? To make the thing work, to make it work. Right? So let me see. Okay, we good. I'm going to read a very important. I want y'all to understand something, y'all. And even the young people. Shemita Bar, you all right, bro? You good? You want something to drink? You good? Okay. Okay. So I'm go to let me see, it's Zephaniah 3 and 9. No, I'm sorry. Jeremiah 17 and 4, Bob Kashah. Jeremiah 17 and 4, please. I want y'all to understand something now and understand this, while you're young. And you'll understand, help to understand the relationship between God, the Most High Yahweh, who is the Father of all of us, right? Jeremiah 17 and 4. And I'm going to try to help y'all understand exactly what this means and the part of it that I want you to understand, okay? Now, if you have any questions at all, like when you was in your house and you was eating your cereal and you said, you understand? Ask the question and we'll answer it for you, okay? To the best of our ability, okay? Because I know one little sister in here, she hit me with a really good question 2 weeks ago, right after the class. And I'm encouraging that little sister, like if she have any more questions like that, to ask the question, because that helps everybody learn, right? Okay? So now, Shikatazar, read Jeremiah nice and loud. Read Jeremiah 17 and 4.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage.
So what is your heritage, right? Your heritage is like what you inherit, right? So this is the Most High say that we would discontinue from who we are, your culture, your heritage, your land, right? It wouldn't be ours no more. We would discontinue. Discontinue means to stop, right? But this is the important part I want you to understand here. Read on.
That I gave thee.
That I gave thee. Meaning, but this is saying that we're the only people on the planet Earth that the Most High God gave us our heritage and our culture. But he took it from us because we didn't value it. You understand? He took it from us because we didn't see no value in it. You understand? But he's going to restore it to us if we come back and obey him and listen to him. You understand? If the Most High God gave us our culture or our heritage, that means it's the greatest culture and the greatest heritage in existence. That's what that means, because the Most High gave it to us. He didn't give us a whack culture or a whack inheritance. So like you have a father, your father got a house, right? You're going to inherit that house. That's your inheritance. You understand? If your family got money in the bank, you're going to inherit that money, right? So we inherit the things from God. That's our heritage, our laws, our rules, the way we live, our cleanliness, our respect of our parents. That's our culture. And they've taken it away from us. And so they want us to be lawless because it's easy to destroy the lawless man. He has no protection. You understand? When they talk about these YNs, these young niggas, that's what they call them. It's not their fault. It's not. It's not their fault. They wasn't trained up in the right way that they should go. You understand? And then they get caught up in the trap that the oppressor sets for our children, right? So we're here to help prevent you from falling into that trap, because this is the little sanctuary, the little safe place that God promised us. This is it, the Isupk. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so now I want to go to the book of Ephesians, right? Chapter 6, and we're going to read the first 4 verses, right? Shemaiah Bar, would you like to read? Ephesians. You don't want to read? Okay. So, yeah, Choir Bar, give me Ephesians 6. We're going to start at verse 1. Because it's a lot to understand, because the relationship between parents is it's parents and children. And the parents have a role to play just as well as the children, right? You want to read? You got it. Choir Bar, go ahead. They eating, man. They want to eat. Okay.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
See that? Children, now this is talking about parents, like the parents in the UPK, right? We're right. We're going to raise our children right. And if we don't know, we better ask somebody. You understand? We're going to raise our children right. That's what it means in the Lord. That is right. You understand? The thing that the Lord gave us, the teachings and the training that the Lord gave us, we have to give to you, which includes discipline. You understand? Love and discipline. Love and discipline. That's our responsibility to our children. Love and discipline. You understand? Children, obey your parents in the Lord. It's important because when Officer Yaramak is talking about the children, right? Those children that go astray is because their parents didn't do their job. That father wasn't there doing his job. That community wasn't there doing its job. But in here, we're restoring all of that. That's the point. Read on.
Verse 2. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise.
Understand? So our first commandment is to take no God before the Most High. You as a child, your first commandment is to obey your parents. Because if your parents is obeying God, then they're going to show you the right way. They're going to conduct themselves in the right way. When you look at your father, you're going to see a man. You're going to see a real nigga. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't going to see no poop butt. You ain't going to see none of that. You understand? You're going to see a real man. You understand? Because there ain't nothing in here but real men. If you're not a real man, you can't make it in here.
That's right.
I'm telling you that right now. Okay? So, honor thy father and mother. Understand what I'm saying? Which is the first commandment with promise. The promise of a better life. Understand? Because when we get our kingdom back, when we in rulership, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be wonderful. And the Most High gives us all this information in this book. Right? Okay. Read on.
Verse 3. That it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth.
You understand that you have a longer life and your life will be better. It's better for you because your father is going to tell you, don't eat that swine, don't eat that pork, don't eat that shrimp, crab, and lobster. because that's why black people got diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure, hypertension. That's why we got all of that, because we've eaten all of those unclean foods that you may live long on the earth. It's good for you to obey your parents, because your parents is going to tell you what's right. The parents in this school, they know what to tell you.
Salaki, real quick, right? While you said the food, it just came out that bacon causes cancer.
I saw that. Yeah. I saw that. You know what I mean?
Put that out there.
And the Most High knows this, man. If these scientists could come out 50 years later and say it, right, after they've been pushing pork for the last 50 years as the new white meat, meaning it was better, you understand, then you know the Most High knows. That's why he told us not to eat it, because it's bad for our health. It'll kill you. Cancer is a killing. Cancer gives you blood cells that kill other blood cells and kills you. Right? Now, read verse 4.
Verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord.
So, Baba Kishar, while I break this down, I want, if you could, look up the word admonition. I don't want to say it wrong. I think I know what it means, but I need to, be correct. Now it said, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, meaning don't abuse your children. You understand? Don't abuse your children. You have to know your children. You have to know their breaking points. You give them enough. You don't abuse them. You don't keep yelling at them, because you can cause your children to go into wrath. We see it among the Edomites all the time. Murdering their parents, going to the school and killing everybody in the school. You understand what I'm saying? Because they were provoked to wrath. They didn't get the proper training at home. You understand what I'm saying? Well, we learn in here how to be cool. You understand? We learn discipline. You understand? And now we learn discipline. Some of us learned discipline when we was a lot older, so it wasn't so easy. But when we train up the children in discipline, it's going to be like breathing air. You understand? It's going to be like breathing to you. That's our hope. That's our struggle. We don't abuse our children. You understand what I'm saying? You do not have to just overly whip. If you have to overly whip a child, you wrong. You doing something wrong. But if you got to give them a couple of licks or whatever, ain't nothing wrong with that. There's one scripture that says, if you beat your child, don't worry, he ain't gonna die. I love that scripture. I love that scripture. Don't worry. Maybe I'll find it before the class is over. If you beat the child, don't worry, he ain't gonna die. It says that, but don't overdo it. You understand what I'm saying? You just let them know that there's a recompense for doing wrong. And like I said earlier, you do not have to whip all children. I got a daughter, right? And I never whipped her, not one time. But there came a time when I wished I did whip her ass. You understand? Being real. You understand? But I never whipped her ever. But she grew up and she showed me some traits that I said to myself, damn, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? But now, you know, because I wasn't in the truth. I didn't know certain things. You understand what I'm saying? So we trying to instill or give you these things while you're young, so that you could be the best that you could be. And when the Most High looks down upon you, you say, yo, that's one of my children right there. He's a good one. I'm going to give him a spot in the kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you something. Our name, I'm going to write it on the board. Our name in Hebrew is Yasha'Allah. And it means the prince of the power. I'm going to read it to you so I want you to understand it. I know a lot of this is like, maybe you're not understanding everything because you're young. You understand? But I'm going to give it to you because I know children are like sponges. And sometimes they understand things more than you think. That's what I've learned as well. So this is the book of Genesis, I think it's 32 and 10. No, I'm thinking. Hold on a second. Let me get it real quick. Okay. It's Genesis 32 and 28, Salakia. And it says this, and this is our name. This is when God gave us the name Yasha'Allah or Israel in English. And it's going to tell us exactly what it means, right? And this is who we are. It says, and he said, his name was Jacob. It was a man, his name was Jacob, right? So God said to him, thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Meaning Jacob ain't your name no more. He said, but Israel, Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew, is your name, for as a prince, so the prince is the son or the children of the king. The prince, thou hast power, meaning authority. We have authority in the earth because we're God's chosen. We have authority. And what we're doing here in this kingdom right here, we're going to take back our authority. We're going to take it back. One brother and one sister at a time. As a prince, thou hast power with God, meaning we have authority with God if we're righteous. If you're not righteous, you ain't got jack. For as a prince, thou hast power with God and with men, and has prevailed. Now, when it says has prevailed, what do you think that means, young sister? What do you think has prevailed means? Okay, so now, that's right. I don't know is always a good answer. Meaning, has prevailed means we've already won. We already won. That's what prevail means, to win. You understand? We've already won, but we gave it up. You know, we didn't listen to God. We didn't listen to our parents. And we wound up here. But this says our name means that we're the prince of the power and we already won. That's what God said right there. So what we got to do now is come back, right, to God and obey him, obey your parents, come back to God, and we going to win. I always say that because I remember one time I heard Commander General Hunter was talking, and then he said, he's talking about all the the problems that we're going through. He said, but this time we win. That's what he said. And that shit hit me in the heart. I love that because we are winners by nature. Right. We are the winners, man. We're the only people that have the right to rule this planet. We're the smartest. We're the best athletes. We're the best scientists. All that. It said, I just was reading to you, it's in Jeremiah 51, it says that Jacob is not like them. He's the former. He forms everything. He creates. Oh, let me tell you this real quick. The black woman that created GPS, she died yesterday. You know what GPS is? When you get in your car and it tells you how to get where you're going, right. A black woman invented that. And she died. And there was barely any mention of it. Understand? That's heavy. Because I don't think there's a car alive now that's more than younger than 10 years, 15 years old that don't have GPS in it. But did black people benefit from it? Did she even benefit from it? Right. I don't think so.
You want me to read that Ephesians 6?
Mm-hmm.
Again? It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 4.
Right.
And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord.
Did you get admonition?
Yeah, admonition means this is AI overview. What it means in the Bible is it means loving verbal correction, instruction, or warning given to help someone align with God's will.
So it's like discipline according to the way God wants us to discipline our children, to check them, but lovingly. You heard he said lovingly, with compassion. You don't have to be yelling at your children. "Ah." We all do it sometimes, but I know I've done it. You know what I'm saying? But it's sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes you got to put that bass in your voice and let them know that you ain't playing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to do that. That's loving too. Now, Baba Shah, we got about 10, 15 minutes, right? So I just want to find that's it on that, right? Okay. I'm going to look up the scripture that says, if you beat your child, don't worry, he ain't won't die. If you could look that up for me. It says it just like that. If you beat him, he won't, don't worry, he won't die. Meaning, you don't hurt the child. But there's nothing wrong with correcting him lovingly. Some children lovingly need an ass with lovingly, and some do not. Okay, slack you for that, Brandon. What it say? Proverbs 23 and 13. Okay, let's get there. This is all for our children. This is for us. This is love. 23 and 13, you said? Okay, I got it. Baba Gashan. Come on, let one of them youngins read it. Yeah, because it's just a matter of love, right? Love is important with children, right? You got to show your children what love is. You got to love them. And discipline is part of the process of showing your child love. You understand? Because it said if you don't discipline your child, you hate your child. You understand? And it's unnatural not to love your child. Something wrong with you if you don't love your child. That's crazy as hell. Understand? Got it? Okay. $13 and what is it? No, it's 23 and 13, right? Yeah, 23 and 13. Come on.
This the book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 13. Withhold not correction from the child.
Stop right there. Withhold not correction. Meaning don't let your child get away with not being corrected when they do something wrong. Make sure when your child does something wrong, you correct them. You understand? Hey, you go downstairs.
Could you try again?
You go downstairs in the middle of the night and you open this box of cereal. You start eating the cereal, something I did when I was a kid. You understand it? And you wasn't supposed to do that. Right? So I had to get correction for that. Right? Whatever you do. You understand?
Is there something else I can help with?
Where's that coming from?
Interesting question.
Oh. Okay. Somebody talking their phone. It's the computer? Okay. 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 Do I got it on? Show me. Somebody go up here. I don't know nothing about Siri. I never used her a day in my life. Come on, sis. If you could, just cut it off for me. I don't know how to do it. I never used Siri. I must have hit it by accident. Oh, okay. Turn it up the other way. Turn the mouse the other way. Yeah, that way. Yeah. All right, thank you, sis. Okay. Yeah, we don't need when you need Siri, she don't ever answer. You know, when Commander Juliana and General Hyman be asking for answers from Siri, she don't say nothing. Okay, anyway. So it says, withhold not correction from the child. Read on.
For if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not
He
die.
ain't gonna die. Ain't gonna die. As long as you don't abuse that child. You understand what I'm saying? If they need a Tukis whipping, give it to them. If they need it. A lot of children do not need it. You can talk to that child. You understand? You can talk to him lovingly and firmly. And that child will listen to you. You understand what I'm saying? And they're more apt to listen to their father because the father has a natural voice that has authority in it. That's why he's the primary disciplinary person. You understand? The father is the primary person that's supposed to discipline the child. Not that the woman shouldn't or can't. But I remember, like, you know, everybody probably experienced this when they said, when your mother or somebody said, I'm going to tell your father when he got to get home. You understand? And sometimes that was enough. Okay? So it says, if you beat the child with the rod, he shall not die. And it says, read verse 14.
Thou shalt beat him.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
You understand? Meaning, if we train up our children, and if they need a spanking, you understand, that will help them from going in the wrong direction and wind up having a life of hell. You understand? That's what it means to have a terrible life. That's what hell means. Hell is not a place where you go and burn up. Hell is having a terrible life, a hard, unnecessary hardship. That's hell. We're in hell right now. Our people in hell right now. Understand? So don't worry about, you understand, what's happening in the world. And I'm going to tell all of y'all in here this, man. Trust your parents. Trust your parents. There's nobody alive that loves you and wants more for you and better for you than your parents. So trust your parents. When there's issues and things going on, you understand? Go to your parents. Hey, dad, hey, mom. You understand? This is what it is. What do you think? What should I do? What do you think about this? Trust your parents. That's what the Most High is telling us to tell our children. That's raising them up in the right way they should go. You understand? So if you're in the street and you meet somebody and they say something to you, you go home and you tell your parents right away. Go home right away. If you're online and somebody wants to meet you and talk nice to you online, which means no. You go, hey, dad, this person is trying to contact me on the phone or on the computer. You understand? He's a stranger. You can't trust him. But you can trust your parents because they're in the next room. You understand? They love you. They have your best interest at heart. Okay, unfortunately, we're out of time. So now what we're going to do next week, we might get into the story of Jonah. And of course, we'll have some more scriptures. And I just want y'all, like, come on, give the sister the mic.
What are African Americans?
Say again.
What are African Americans?
Excellent question. Her question is, were there African Americans? What are African Americans? That's even better. Get that sister a hand for that question. So, what are African Americans? African American is a fictitious people. people that don't exist, that had a name that doesn't belong to them put upon them. They call us African Americans, right? But we're not African and we're not Americans. So, right. That's right. Get that brother a hand. That's right. We're Jews. We're Jews. We're Israelites. And African American is just a name that they put on us so that we could think that we're Africans. And I don't know about y'all, but I had a lot of experience with Africans. A lot. And they are different. We are not, let me tell you, brother, we are not Africans at all. Come on. That's right. We're the Israelites. And Israelites and Africans are two different people. You understand? We might be the same color. Some of us might be the same color because there's light-skinned Africans and there's dark-skinned Africans. There's light-skinned Israelites and there's dark-skinned Israelites. But we're a different bloodline. We're a different family. That's what a nation is, right? So African Americans is the name that they put on us to help from us knowing who we really are. You understand? They call us African Americans because we want to identify with something because they took our true identity from us. You understand? And then they call it's just like, what's your name? Say your name out loud. Tara, right? Yara, Salaki, Yara. And then I'll come and tell you, your name ain't Tara, your name Toby. That's what they did to us. You understand? But your name really is Tara. Yara, Salaki, Yara. That's your real name. But they say your name is Sally. That's what they did to us. They put a name on us that don't belong to us. We're Yasha Allah. We're Israel. We're the children of God. We're the greatest people on the earth. And God chose us above all the nations that are upon the earth. You understand? We're the greatest people. And don't you ever let nobody tell you that there's somebody better than you because they're a damn liar. There's nobody that breathes air under the sun that's better than you. Okay. Malak, you got one? Come on, give Malak that mic.
If white people called black people, they celebrate Christmas, and then the black people say, they don't celebrate Christmas, and then they say it again. And they say it again.
And you tell them you keep telling them we don't celebrate Christmas. You understand? Because Christmas is an evil holiday that they made up. You understand? Just to get your money and to get you to follow after their culture. So you just keep telling them a lot. We don't celebrate Christmas. I don't care how many times they say it, okay? We don't celebrate Christmas. Is that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to celebrate Christmas. Christmas is a lie. There's no such thing as Santa Claus, a fat man that goes around the whole earth in a couple of hours and gives everybody gifts. The fat white man at that. And he comes down the chimney. That's nonsense. You understand? Yeah. He's a trespasser. And if he's the white man, he's more than likely to steal out of your house. I don't care how many times they tell you that you should celebrate Christmas, you just keep telling them, we don't celebrate Christmas. That's all you got to tell them. We don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas. Okay? That's good?
Yeah.
Okay. What you going to tell them? What are you going to tell them? You don't, and they say, I want you to celebrate Christmas. I want you to go buy some gifts. What you going to tell them?
We don't celebrate it.
That's it. Get that brother in. Okay? All right, y'all. And with that, we're going to shut down the class. Of course, you can always ask questions. Even if something, when you leave the class and something comes to mind, you can write it down or you can tell somebody, and then we'll bring the question up in the next class in 2 weeks from now. Lord allow, okay? All right? Now with that, we thank everybody for tuning in. You You understand? And also, like, if anybody has any ideas and they want something in particular that they want to contribute to the class as far as learning and teaching the children, you know, you just contact Officer Yanazar or Officer Batazar One. All right? And with that, we say shalom and tawada. All right, man.